Our first panelist is going to be Randy Casares. Randy, please introduce yourself. Tell us what your education level is in Toastmasters and how long you've been a member.
Thank you, Betty. Fellow Toastmasters, I've been a member since 2011. I'm a 3-time distinguished Toastmaster. I belong to 3 clubs in Tucson, Arizona: Sunrisers Toastmasters, For Pen and Podium, and Leaders First. And I just enjoy Toastmasters. So this is an honor for allowing me to do this. I really appreciate it. So thank you very much.
We appreciate you tonight, and we'll put you through your paces. Our next panelist is Blair Rivet. Blair, when did you join Toastmasters and what is your educational level?
I am one coaching club step away from a DTM for the first time. And I joined in 2009. I joined Gilbert Toastmasters, and I've been with Gilbert since then, and then recently joined Superstition.
Thank you very much. Lynn Brazier, how long have you been a Toastmaster and what is your education level?
Way too long?
Be a little more definitive than that. Come on.
More definitive than that. Almost consecutively since 2001. And I am a DTM 2.
Thank you.
And a whole bunch of other new initials that I can't quite keep straight.
And you're a little bit unusual so far in our panel because you don't have quite as many clubs under your belt. How many clubs are you a member of, Lynn?
I am a member of one club. It's the best club you could possibly be a member of, so it covers all your bases. You don't have to go along and be a member of a whole bunch of them this way. I'm a member of Melrose. I am one of the founding members of Melrose, along with a few other people on the call tonight. And we've been going strong for 11 years and distinguished every one of them.
Congratulations. And our fourth panelist tonight is Steve Bro. Steve, how long have you been a Toastmaster and what is your education level?
Thank you, Betty. I've been a Toastmaster since 1991. I joined in the Founders District in California, moved here in joined in 1990 and moved here in 91. Been a Toastmaster continuously since that point. I've earned 3 Distinguished Toastmasters awards, and I'm not the only one here to brag about this, but I was a District Outstanding Toastmaster of the Year. Lynn, I knew Lynn made that also, and that's
and so did I.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did you.
Wow, congrats. Good company.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all panelists for being here tonight. Something that drew me to Toastmasters, I was already teaching at an adult college level. I had been training my entire career. I felt like I was already a capable speaker. What drew me to Toastmasters was the slogan, where leaders are made. Randy, what drew you to Toastmasters?
Thank you, Betty. Well, it started with my brother telling me that his wife had joined Toastmasters and it helped her. And he looked at it as a networking opportunity for me. So I decided to look at Toastmasters and I was hooked right away. What was amazing was the atmosphere, people having a good time, laughing, but also growing and thriving all at the same time. There's nothing more than I enjoy than when I hear an icebreaker, because we get a chance to hear someone's story for the first time. We get a chance to see them grow. So I have to say the atmosphere is what keeps me here. I mean, it's the reason that I joined. It just makes sense to me. I'm the type of person, I try to be organized. I'm not the most organized person, but I try to be organized as much as possible. And I do everything I can to improve on that area. And the Toastmasters will help you do that. They'll give you the confidence that you need. I never had this much confidence in my ability, but now I do. And it's all because of Toastmasters. So this is a wonderful organization and I plan to be here forever. Never going to leave.
Good for you.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Blair, how about you? What drew you to Toastmasters?
Well, I came to my first Toastmasters meeting after my husband and I moved here to sort of semi-retire. We were both practicing physicians. And I have been doing some speaking and I wanted to expand on my speaking opportunities, as well as I wanted to learn to have some sense of humor, which I thought I was a little deficient in at that point in time. So I joined Toastmasters to improve my speaking and also to get some little more light levity in my daily life and my speaking life. And I have grown with that and enjoyed it tremendously.
Excellent. Thank you. Dr. Steve, how about you?
When I joined Toastmasters in 1991, I realized I was unemployed. I wanted to be around other people. I felt like speaking was a strength for me. I wasn't so much intimidated by the Toastmaster challenge, but I did not realize how much more there was to learn, how much other people could help me. And very quickly, I found out that the support system with Toastmasters, yeah, you can read about it, but until you experience that, I think that kind of bonded me to Toastmasters, because the support system said to me, you're important, we'll help you find work, and we'll help you become a better speaker. That's something I couldn't leave. Once I got that internally, never wanted to leave.
Excellent. Thank you. And Lynn?
My boss made me.
Okay, why?
I am an analytics person. I work very well with computers. And she pretty much had to go with my face and said, look at me. I promise you, your computer will not get you promoted, no matter how good you are with that darn thing. So until you can tell me what it's saying, you're not going anywhere. And now I'm completely confident I can talk to anyone about anything. But then my first speech I gave to my shoes at 1,000,000 miles an hour. It has done wonders for me, both personally and professionally, to be a member of the organization. But I joined because someone told me I had to.
Excellent. Thank you so much, panelists, for sharing your why moment. Interesting that all four of us had something different that drew us, or all five of us, I guess, that drew us to Toastmasters. When I first became a Toastmaster, I was told by the club sponsor that I needed to find a mentor. I asked the club sponsor to be my mentor, and this was in June. We were still having fall conferences then, and she said, Betty, there's a conference in October. You're going. And I said, oh, okay, what's a conference? And so we went to the fall conference that very first year when I'd only been a Toastmaster a few months. That was a very high point in my Toastmaster career. I was so impressed with what happened. Lynn, tell me about a high point in your Toastmaster career. What was something that really stood out as a big moment for you?
Absolutely. At my club, I was with part of a corporate club. We were talking about those earlier tonight for the first several years of my life in Toastmasters. And they closed our office and they opened a new one, but we moved in waves. So our club went on hiatus for almost 3 years. Wow. And when we came back, everybody knows the rules. You have to have a certain number of people who are going to bridge the gap. And we managed to barely bridge the gap, and we managed to barely squeak by for about 18 months when a guy named Romy got his CC, his Competent Communicator. It was the very first educational award from somebody who wasn't part of that bridge group. And English was not his first language. It was challenging from him from beginning to end. But to this day, the day that guy got his CC was one of the proudest, most inspiring moments I've ever had as a Toastmaster. To see all the work come to fruition, to see someone achieve a goal they never thought they could achieve. And in a short period, he'd only been a Toastmaster for about a year. So it was the greatest. It was a great experience.
That's exciting. Thank you. Steve, how about you? Tell us about a real highlight that you enjoyed in your Toastmaster life.
You know, I think part of the magic of being in Toastmasters is that things happen to you that you just don't anticipate or that you expect. And once you plunge into the the flow of what the Toastmasters experience is, and some amazing things can happen to you. My story began with being asked to lead a speechcraft at the University of Phoenix. And Speechcraft is a club experience for people on a limited basis, offering how do you become a better speaker. And so we did Speechcraft, and we concluded, and it was great. It was magical. And I was asked after that, can you bring that Speechcraft to the Unity of Phoenix Church? And I checked out the details and, hey, yeah, let's make this happen. Let's lead Speechcraft at Unity of Phoenix Church. The Unity of Phoenix Church was an amazing blessing to my life. I met the minister of the church. He knew about Toastmasters and encouraged people to participate. The Speechcraft membership just kept growing and growing. It was growing strong. By the end of it, I said, well, we've completed the planned Speechcraft. You can either join a Toastmasters club, you can stop if you want. I don't encourage that, but we potentially could create a club here. And the members of the Speechcraft said, well, let's create a club. We almost had 20 members. We had like 18 members. So, well, we need to recruit a couple more to meet the charter strength. It took us 6 months to have a group that was committed to being 20 members, but we got there. And the Club Unity Speakers, as it's known now today, has been going now past 25 years of experience. It has continued strong. I felt so blessed. I didn't do it alone by any means. Some of you remember Don Clausing. He joined just after we moved out of the Speechcraft phase and into the club building phase, and he was amazing in what he did and built the strength of the club. So we don't do some amazing things necessarily in our life all by ourselves. But when you step into the flow of it, and Toastmasters was part of that for me, it created a life memory that I can never forget.
Blair, how about you? What's a highlight moment for you?
I think probably mine was when I was confronted, or at least gently asked by someone at a TLI meeting, would you like to be an area director? And I said, what's an area director? She said, oh, I'll get the information for you. And 2 days later, I had a phone call, and that person said, I understand you're going to be a new area director. And I said, what's an area director? I still didn't know. But out of that experience, I just loved it. I had stayed localized in my one club. Everything I did was just locally for Gilbert. And now I was getting to see 5 personalities in a whole new dynamic. And it really strengthened my look at the personality club issue and how they can really grow with so many different approaches. It just turned out to, and just everybody probably knows these clubs. I had the Foods Club, and I had Dos Langos, and I had Blue. So I had an experience that was built on all kinds of wonderful things, memorable, all of them.
I will say that I believe that Toastmasters was the first organization to coin the word voluntold.
I've been accused of experiencing that.
And Randy, tell us about your highlight moment so far in Toastmasters.
Oh, there's been so many of them, from area contests to going to conference. But I would have to say mentoring my ex-girlfriend. A few years ago, she decided to join because she knew I was in Toastmasters, and she was scared to death to speak. But I'm like, I'm going to mentor you. I'm going to help you with your icebreaker. And she delivers. I help her with her icebreaker, and she delivers it. And it was like a professional. I was amazed, and I was so proud of her. And I know to this day that has helped her with her church activities and just in her life. That confidence, that ability to do it. If you had seen this icebreaker and you had known her, you would have said, wow, this is the same person. It's literally amazing. So it's literally amazing the skills that you learn in Toastmasters and how you can help others develop those skills as well. So it's definitely the highlight of my Toastmaster career, just because she was shy, she was nervous, she was sweating, and yet she was able to pull off like a professional. It's literally amazing.
Yeah, I think in that same vein, another major highlight for me was not my first DTM, but when I saw my first protege get their DTM and know that I had made a difference in that person's life.
Absolutely.
Okay, the next question is a little bit about kind of the transitions that we have been going through in the last year. When Toastmasters first planned the Pathways program, they forgot to pencil in pandemic in the middle of it. But, that's what happened. We ended up stopping the legacy program and going 100% into Pathways and having a pandemic at the same time. Lynn, I know that you were an ambassador for Pathways. Tell me about how you've been impacted by the transition from legacy to Pathways.
Well, I had to hurry because legacy was ending, so I accidentally got a second DTM. So there's that. I didn't really do anything to earn that second DTM. I just kept doing the program, and DTM was just fell in my lap, basically. But overall, I love the Pathways program. As somebody who's completed the legacy program twice, getting to have the new experiences and the new education options that Pathways offers is awesome. And Melrose is a very flexible group of people. We've had no adoption issues. Everybody's jumped right in and worked through their process. We have one person who's unfortunately not going to DTM because in the pandemic, he can't form a club in the middle of that. And that's all that's outstanding with the legacy program. But other than that, I think the Pathways program, they gave us a lot of great tools. They gave us a ton of support to get this to happen and a pretty wide range of time to make it happen. Like I said, I put my foot just a tap on the gas and threw one more thing into the pipe in order to get a second DTM. But other than that, I've been working Pathways since it rolled out. It's a lot of fun and I love the new educational opportunities.
Now, how far are you in Pathways?
I am a 4 in one, a 2 in another, and just started on the free one.
Okay. Excellent. Randy,
I'm not like Randy.
Yeah. Randy, is one of your DTMs in Pathways?
Yes.
You
Yes,
were the first one in Arizona, weren't you?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us about that. Tell us why you dived in the way you did and how has it impacted you?
That's a good question. So I was also an ambassador, and I'm a big believer the best way to show leadership is by leading by example. So when Pathways started, I said, I better be on a path because if people find out that I'm not on a path and then I was ambassador selling Pathways, it's going to make me look like a hypocrite. So I started, and my goal was just to get through a path by the conference. And I was able to do that. I thought there'd be more people, but I think people were still working on legacy and all that. And then I figured I'd work on a second path. And before you know it, I had my DTM in Pathways. It wasn't planned. It wasn't like I said, I'm going to be the first one in District 3 to get a DTM through Pathways. It just kind of happened. I remember I emailed Nancy Starr Cassidy and I said, has anyone done this yet? Said no. I said, well, I just did it. and it was a great experience. But Pathways, I love Pathways because it's designed for a situation like this in many ways. As far as you can go online, you can do the speeches and get credit right away. It's designed for people to succeed and it gives people more opportunities. So this was difficult for me to go on Zoom because I enjoy live meetings and I still do. But I'm starting to get used to it. I'm starting to develop new skills. And I really just enjoy it. I mean, one of my clubs, we do better on Zoom than we do online. So I think we're going to stick to Zoom. So it can give you more opportunities to grow as a club. So I really enjoy it.
Thank you. Now, Blair, have you actually made the transition into Pathways? I know you're trying to finish your DTM in Legacy, but tell us about your experience with the transition.
I'm on level 3 in humor and level 2 in coaching. And I was so ignorant when I first looked at it. I signed up for 2 right away and didn't realize what I was doing. So that created a little confusion for me. And I have to confess that my transition to Pathways has been complex. I still have to struggle working my way through the whole process. So I'm not happy with it, but I think it's because I didn't sit down and do it very intensely and learn it. So I think I reflect a lot of other people who say I got stuck and I lost where I was as that goes. But I have been doing it, and I have been participating, and I'm hoping that I get a little more comfortable with it. But there's no surprise in my mind that there are a lot of people who probably said, I'm not going to dig into this because it loses you in midair. And that midair, I think, is probably where my computer should be, and it isn't. But could I just throw in one other thing, and you may be bringing this up. Are you going to be talking about the decreasing participation in Toastmasters in general, apart from the pandemic?
We are going to talk about that in a couple minutes. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And Steve, how about you? How did you find the transition from the legacy program to Pathways?
It's been an interesting journey, hasn't it? For the record, I've completed 1 pathway, the dynamic leadership pathway. I have 1 project remaining with the visionary communication pathway, and I've started the effective coaching pathway. I'm going to say the transition for me was really kind of modest in terms of difficulty. You know, there were some bumpy parts and not quite sure how to do this or that, but nothing seemed to be a major barrier for the transition. What I think the Pathways really delivers for us is a new way to speak to a younger generation that's grown up digital, that's provided the access for all the information online. Yeah, I didn't grow up digital either. I mean, I was always interested in getting there, but Pathways provides for people who love to hold their cell phone while they're talking and do something. Pathways provides that gratification of having all the information there. And what I think may be the biggest transformational element for Toastmasters may not be Pathways so much, but the pandemic. I think this year of experiencing Toastmasters, we're determined to have this experience, meeting online and seeing who's willing to meet the club at this time in this different format. What's it like to hold a speech contest? Just on the side, last week I participated with the Arizona Academic Decathlon, judging speeches online and seeing how they're doing differently. And I know that Toastmasters is looking at a partnership or collaboration with Rotary International. We haven't seen a lot about that. I've read that in the Toastmasters magazine, but I think there's great potential for including that connection with other community groups. I'm working with the Payson Toastmasters to expand a club, and we're all meeting online. I'm not sure I'm going to join the second club. I may, I've been in as many as 5 clubs at one time, but right now I'm just in 1 club. But I've been trying to help Payson Club charter, and I think it's going to happen. Barbara Schumacher is just absolutely committed to making this happen. And the Zoom experience is probably more influential for the behavior of Toastmasters than the Pathways, in my little opinion. I've been in Toastmaster meetings now in Qatar, in London, throughout the state without leaving my own basement here in Scottsdale. So that opportunity to have the connection. And Toastmasters International now has opened up a channel where they have regular programs of interest through experienced Toastmasters, not just the magazine, but webinars that are offered live and they're recorded. If you look at the resources that Toastmasters International has for us, it's amazing. I started a new practice on developing humor after sitting through 2 parts of a humor workshop that Toastmasters International sponsored, and I've just signed up with another seminar. I don't know how many people have gotten into that here, but I think it's really valuable, and you get to talk to people all over the world through that process. It's like going to an international conference on a small scale. So yeah, pathways, the change was there. And for me, you know, there were moments, but wasn't rough at all. The pandemic is not something we had any choice about. And it's transformed how we meet in Toastmasters. And I don't think we've seen the end of it. Back to you.
Thank you, Steve. If you read District 3 website at all, if you attend any of the district executive council meetings or just talk to other Toastmasters, you'll know that we've lost a lot of clubs this year to attendance. We've lost a lot of Toastmasters. If you are a brand new Toastmaster, less than a year, what would be the most important thing for you to learn and hang on to? Who wants to take that one first? Go ahead, Lynn.
We have 7 or 8 new members in Melrose this year who've never walked into the Rock. They never have experienced what we do when we're together. So what has been our mantra through it has been a great deal. I mean, we're a mentor crazy club as it is, very heavy into doing mentoring, but we've really pushed it to the point of doing a lot of things online to make sure that their comfort level is before I could sit across the table from them and walk them through something. Now I can get them online and we walk them through everything we're doing. So I think the part that is important for them, what we need to always stress to them as we work through this is that this is a supportive learning environment. No matter where we are, we're going to support you while you learn, and that we have a plan. There is an actual guide to how this is done. Toastmasters is by the book. I mean, we have our meetings by the books. We have our speeches by the books. And through this organized structure, you're going to learn. And until we can get back together, as long as we keep it together here online, we can still experience that same level of learning. Will they be as good at holding the stage when we finally get them back to our big stage? I don't know. And that will definitely be an area of opportunity. But how many times do we have to present online before the pandemic? For me, that's every day. I'm constantly having to do this. So having improved my presentation skills online is another piece of where Toastmasters has helped. So we'll fill that gap. And so to me, the thing they need to know is supportive learning environment. No matter what happens, we're going to support you to continue to learn.
Thank you. Randy, what would you add to that brand new Toastmaster?
I would just add that if I was a brand new Toastmaster, I want to see a club that's organized. I want to see a club that's having fun. I want to see a club that's thriving and growing, succeeding. And it's always keeping it positive. And I know that sounds cheesy, but you'd be surprised. I mean, we had a guest the other day that told one of our members that she had been to another Toastmaster meeting where the president had yelled at the secretary and nobody had done anything about that. And that just turned her off. So she was never going to come back to Toastmasters. But this member was able to convince her, come to Toastmasters. There's nothing like that happens here. And she had a good time. So keeping it positive, I think, is the most important thing. Accepting everyone is the most important thing. And getting a mentor so that they can grow and thrive and succeed, that's what's important. So if you have those elements in your club, you're going to attract people and you're going to keep people. And you got to have a good time as well. I was at my home club back then 9 years ago. A guest flat out said, "You guys are boring." And you don't want to have that. You want to have excitement. Those table topics, the Toastmaster has to have excitement in the meeting. Otherwise, if it's just kind of dull, it's not going to work. So those are the things I'd be looking for as a new member.
Thank you. So we've heard about the importance of mentorship. We've heard about having a well-organized and fun club. Blair, what else would you tell that less than a year Toastmaster?
I think that they're part of the family. And we don't use the term family specifically, but there's something special about being welcomed and followed as a new person comes in and recognizes that they're well accepted that they don't have to sit in the far corner of the Zoom screen and wait for somebody to talk to them, so to speak. Yes, the humor, yes, the other things, but even if the mentor doesn't recognize them every time they come into a meeting, everybody should be greeted as they appear. And even if they appear on the screen, they need to be, you need recognition and identification.
And Steve, how about you? What are you going to tell that less than a year Toastmaster? Why should they stay?
Betty, most people join Toastmasters because they want to become a better speaker. So I would tell that new Toastmaster that come to the meetings, follow the program, and in a year's time, you will be better than 90% of the people out there in public speaking. You know what? The benefits don't stop there. You want to go far with the program. You want to really develop as a speaker. You can go better than 10%, 90% of all the other people in the world in speaking. You can go much further. To do this, get involved with your club and fill all the meeting roles. Don't just be the person who gives speeches and does table topics. Fill the all-counter role, be a Toastmaster. It takes a little bit of extra work, but you know what? Being a better speaker, being an influencer, being a person who makes an impact, all those things take some extra work too. Toastmasters is a great laboratory for trying out your skill set on that. Say yes to big challenges from time to time. Take one on, even if you're not sure how it's going to happen. Look for people who can help you achieve a big goal, and definitely find a mentor. Ask for help. Ask that person, I don't know how I'm going to be the club president this year. I don't know how I'm going to be an area director. Would you give me a hand? Would you advise me? And you're going to find Toastmasters are willing to step up and help you do that. So if you're just looking to be a better speaker, Toastmasters can definitely give that to you. If you want to change your life in some amazing and profound ways that you didn't expect, get involved with the club, build relationships, and say yes to the unexpected.
Good, very good.
Thanks.
As a member of 2 corporate clubs in addition to a community club, I find that frequently there are people who are getting ready for the big interview, and they join Toastmasters to learn how to nail the interview. And then they get the job and they disappear. What do we say to them to get re-engaged? That's a tough one, huh? Steve, go ahead.
Rather than saying something to that person, I'd ask them, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? Now, you and I know Toastmasters offers a lot to anyone who's building a career, but I'd start with listening and try to say, well, congratulations on building your skill at speaking enough that you qualified. Where do you want to go from here? And then I'd try to provide an authentic answer to the person that says, there's a pathway forward from you, and our club will help you get there. So get involved.
Good answer. Anybody else want to add to that?
Yeah, I like to say that the best way to get those members to continue joining is just to send them an email, call them saying, hey, we noticed you weren't at the meeting. We just want to make sure everything's okay. You're always welcome to come back to the club anytime, and we're here to help you. Maybe you need to enhance your speaking skills from time to time, and we're here for you. So that's the best way. I mean, you're going to have members that are just not, they're going to finish a path and they're going to feel like that's good enough. But you always want to keep it positive, and you always welcome them back and not push them too hard. It's all right to ask them for their goals and all that, but you want to make sure that, hey, we're here for you, and whenever you want to come back, you can come back, and that's all you can do.
Yeah, Lynn.
One of the other things that is really critically important is to not get to that point if you can avoid it. is to have those new member surveys so you know why they're coming in the door, and establishing some relationships with a mentor within the first few weeks, so that there is somebody who establishes that human relation. So you're no longer just a box to check. You're an organization where there are people who care about you and friends, and who know what you have, what your targets are, and can help you get there. So to try to preempt that from happening is probably the best option you have.
Okay, Lynn, I'm going to continue to keep you on the spot there. You just talked about a new member survey. I'm going to guess that a lot of people don't do new member surveys. What's the advantage or disadvantage? Talk to us more about that.
How do you know the person? They've just walked in the door, or in our case, they've walked onto the screen. A new member survey for us is just, what are you working on? Are you here for leadership? Are you here for speaking? Are you here to become the world champion of public speaking or the next CEO? What are your objectives? What kind of motivation do you enjoy? I mean, are you somebody who likes to be pushed? Are you like somebody who likes to be hugged and held up? And what kind of communications are you preferences? It's for me, for example, I would never take a protege on who doesn't answer a text within a day. I would lose my mind. So I would assign that to someone who was nicer than me. So it's definitely a way to get to know who they are and what their objectives are, and what's putting their foot to the gas to decide who's the match for them, and then build a relationship. So a new member survey, all it's intended to do is, you can't just match people up like they were Legos. Everybody's a little different. How Julia manages and works with individuals is very different to how I do, and we're the president and VPE of a club. So, it's important that we have our own strengths, and that we're able to use those strengths where they're appropriate. So there are some people that are a better match for me, some people a better match for Julia, some people better match for a brand new person taking on their first opportunity because they're so excited. So it really, who's your person? Why are they there? Lets you figure out who's the best match for them to build that first relationship, to build the entire relationship on.
Anybody else want to add to that? Okay, I promised each one of you an opportunity to tout your club. So Randy, I'm going to, I know you're a member of multiple clubs, but tell us about why we should join one of your clubs in Tucson.
Thank you, Betty. I believe if you join Sunrisers Toastmasters, you're going to get a positive environment. We meet early in the morning at 6 a.m., but I think that's the best time because people get to stay home and they get to speak and thrive and grow. And we have a really positive group. And some are all types of different levels. You have advanced speakers, you have beginner speakers, but we all mesh together. And what's amazing is the organization of, we were able to do this in an hour. And most of the time we finish on time. So that's what's amazing. We're able to give 2 speeches. We're able to, table topics are fun. People are laughing, people are having a good time. And this was a club that once met live in person, but is doing 10 times better on Zoom. So you're seeing people really enjoy Zoom, and we're really expanding. And I think we're going to really be big in a couple of years as far as one of the best clubs in Tucson, Arizona.
When do Sunrisers meet?
They meet at 6 a.m. Tuesday mornings.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Blair, go ahead, tout your club.
Sure. Gilbert Toastmasters Club is number 499 on the list of Toastmaster clubs. So we have a long history. We have been a distinguished club for the last 12 years. No need to look all of those details up. The thing that probably is great about Gilbert is that we have a real diversity of personalities and people. The first icebreaker of one of the women who just joined 2 weeks ago was the reason she joined our club was because she saw such a diversity of people in the room, and she wanted to be able to experience the different cultures that she saw were happening there. We've been a very active club with jumping onto the virtual Zoom screen within weeks. We won an award because we were one of the first clubs who did that. So we have a core group of people who are really supported strongly and want to reach out and touch as many lives as we can to keep Gilbert a very outstanding club.
And when do you meet?
We meet Thursday at 7. And we have
AM or PM?
PM, I'm sorry, PM. And we also after our meetings, we do what we call post toasties, which is just a get together after the meeting. When we were live, we would go to a local pub or restaurant and visit each other. And now we just do it online, and it works fine on Zoom to have visiting. And that's how we really get to know our new people, because we usually encourage them to come to the post toasties and get a feel for the society.
Excellent. Steve, how about you? Who would you like to tout for us?
Thank you. I'm active in Paradise Valley Toastmasters. You know, as I've heard our panelists speak about their clubs, you know, everyone's club is their own favorite club, you know, and I think the reason why you might want to visit Paradise Valley, it's not going to appeal to everyone, but we meet at 6:45 in the morning. Randy, I know you guys get up earlier than we do, but 6:45 in the morning on Fridays, it is for me the gateway to the weekend. So when I go to Paradise Valley Toastmasters, I've got Friday ahead of me. Maybe I'm off early in the afternoon and I'm just ready to enjoy the weekend at that point. You know, when you're in a Toastmasters club in the morning, you get applauded before most people have their first cup of coffee. I think it does something to your internal jive. You feel energized when you have that, and you live all day with that. So I want to offer this to anyone in the audience. Invite me to your club. I visit a lot of clubs on Zoom. I'm happy to visit your club. Come visit my club too and see what it's like, but no obligation. I'll visit your club if you send me a link to your club and tell me what's involved. If I can make it, I'll be there sometime soon.
Yay.
And Lynn, tell us about Melrose.
Well, first, I got to tell you that the most terrifying experience I ever had as a Toastmaster was an area director at 6:45 in the morning at Paradise Valley Toastmasters trying to speak. My mouth does not work at that hour. So, obviously, you guys hear me talk about Melrose a lot. The thing about Melrose and is we're just a lot of fun. While we still follow the program to the letter, we have a plethora of DTMs wandering the building. But when it all comes down to it, ladies and gentlemen, we meet at a bar at 7 o'clock at night on the second and fourth Wednesday of every month for an hour and a half. We have a little bit of break in the middle to socialize. We've continued that tradition, having the break in the middle to socialize when we're here on Zoom. We have the best speaking space in all of district here. We have a huge stage when we're in public, and you honestly can tell that when you see us compete, because we're not intimidated by a stage. We work from one every day. Now, of course, we don't, but it's a fabulous meeting venue. We get it for free because the host absolutely is just one of the kindest, decentest people you'll ever meet. And our club prides itself on having a blast. We have a positive energy to everything we do, and it's just a phenomenal experience. At one point in my life, I was a member of 4 or 5 different clubs at the same time, trying to get every piece of what makes the perfect Toastmasters club. Instead, I joined it, and that works for me. So everyone's invited anytime. I sent Betty an invite to start the meeting. So
well, thank you so much. And I'm going to tout Sleek Toastmasters. Sleek is the West Valley Leadership Club. We only meet once a month right now. We're thinking about maybe changing that meeting a little more often, but we meet on the 4th Friday at 7 p.m. And right now we're meeting on Zoom. If we get out of this pandemic ever, we may go back to meeting in a restaurant and having dinner together. But we now have picked up several members that are out of state, and we may want to just keep being a Zoom club for a while. What's unique about our club is that we have a third speech every week called Leadership Corner. We're a leadership club, and we're trying to develop our leadership skills by having a leadership speech at each one of our meetings. We also, I'm sure many of you give, like, each person writes a couple little lines to your speakers on what you heard them do well and what they might want to work on. We do that not only for our speakers, but we provide feedback to our evaluators. The entire club gives written feedback to each evaluator. We've got some of the best evaluators in the state in SLEEK. We like to say that SLEEK is where leaders take action, because at any given time, more than half of the club is involved in district leadership in some capacity. So I encourage you to come and join us on Friday night. Our next meeting is going to be the 26th at 7 p.m. We'd love to have you. Okay, we're done touting. We have a question from the audience. There's a general impression that Toastmasters is specifically about public speaking. We know it's so much more. How do you respond to that? Blair, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think that we respond to that by supporting and really encouraging the leadership roles in our club. As a matter of fact, before Toastmasters International had a mentorship program, we created a mentorship vice president and had our own position designated on our slate of officers. And I think that's part of that leadership focus that we felt strongly about. And participating in educational experiences is not as frequent as I think we could be by announcing them and touting them, but we're working on that.
Randy, how about you? I saw you nodding your head there.
Yes, I think that the way you have to sell Toastmasters is that it's not just we're a place where you speak, but it's a place where you can become a leader and grow and thrive and succeed. So when a brand new member joins, you have to say, okay, what is your goals? What do you want to get out of this? And then you have to talk about the DCP. It's not talked about enough. But what I love about the DCP is that it comes together as a team. In other words, no one person can do it alone. No one person.
What is the DCP, Randy, for anybody who might not know?
Yeah, it's Distinguished Club Program, and it's a way to become distinguished as a club. And when you set goals as a team, when you do it as a team, it's just much better. So you have your individual goals, and then you have your DCP goals that you achieve as a club. And I find that clubs that do this are the ones that are more successful, setting goals on a continuous basis, saying, hey, we're in this together. We need to become distinguished because that's a sign that we're a healthy club. And if you were to take a survey right now and ask everyone here on Zoom, they would tell you they want their club to continue to grow, to thrive, to succeed. And there's no better way than to follow the DCP, as well as having individuals and having mentors. All that adds up. And I think that Toastmasters is definitely a lot more than it is a place to public speak. It's where you get a chance to really, truly become the person that you were meant to be.
Thank you. Steve or Lynn?
I'll jump in here. I'll be brief. Someone once told me that Toastmasters is perhaps the greatest organization in the world. Now, I know you have pretty high opinion about USAA, and there are many, many organizations, but I think we can consider Toastmasters as an organization that changes people's lives consistently. So Randy is right. The DCP is a methodology for building great clubs. I think of that as the tactics of building a great club. The big strategy issues, it's very simple. Make the club purposeful, and we do that with a Pathways program. Make the club fun, and that's just a commitment on your part to make sure that we're not bored, we're trying to innovate. And we sometimes fall on our face and have pie up on our face when we get up, but we go on the next week and we're still willing to laugh at each other. Make it purposeful, make it fun, and people will want to be part of it. That's it.
Lynn, anything to add to that?
I guess the only thing I would add is that everyone should always have their elevator speech, their table topics on why Toastmasters. And for me, it's always been the fact you can't teach confidence, but what Toastmasters does, it gives you the tools to believe in yourself, to have yourself learn to be confident. And to me, that is, I mean, for me personally, professionally, it's made a huge difference. And my testimonial always goes along those lines.
Thank you. Audience, if you have any other questions that you want to address to the panel, go ahead and type them into the chat and we'll be happy to answer them. Panel, I'd like for each one of you to just give us one last comment about why we should stay.
I'll tell you the reason I stay. It's because of the people. You continue to get new people to mentor every year. Someone new comes into your life who teaches you or touches you in a different way. And until that stops, I'm going to still be here.
It's about relationships, isn't it?
There's always someone who cares for you when you have a Toastmaster friendship. I have to attest to that because I had been a member for maybe 2 years when my husband died, and Toastmasters from my club came to the funeral, much to my shock and surprise. Of course, later they also signed away for me to do an obituary speech, but I didn't know that was part of what might happen at that particular day. So yes, and you will always have a friend if you join Toastmasters.
Randy or Steve?
Go ahead, Steve.
Betty, a while back you were talking about someone who joins Toastmasters and they quit after they get their promotion or they do something else. And I'm thinking of that as a transactional view of life. I do this, I get that. I pay $50, I get this. And yes, you can walk into Toastmasters with the transactional view and you can likely get exactly what you were looking for. But there's another view, and that's the transformational view. And that's the saying, I'm going to change for the better. I'm going to continue to change and help other people around me. And Toastmasters, I think, takes people who are on the transactional path and offers them a journey toward the land of Oz, the great yellow brick road where things are changed in a big way because it's meaningful to do so, and there is no price that you want to pay for what that brings to you.
Randy?
Yes. To me, it's real simple. There's no better organization than Toastmasters. There really isn't. I've been a part of other organizations and they just didn't have the same feeling that Toastmasters does. This isn't where you get a chance to speak. This is where you get a chance to lead. But most of all, this is get a chance where you get to help others thrive and succeed and grow in their goals. So there's just no other better organization. I've met many wonderful people, and some Toastmasters don't stay forever, but I'll always remember those people because of their speech, because of their story, or because of what they did in Toastmasters as far as being an area director or division director. I just will always treasure those moments. I'll never forget those people. You meet wonderful people. They're just here to better themselves just like you. So there's no better organization. I've talked to people, and you're not going to find a better organization than Toastmasters International.
I think from a personal standpoint, I look at people like Randy and Dorothy from Tucson. I would never have met you in life if it hadn't been for Toastmasters. Steve, you just mentioned about that I'm big on USAA, and I am. I'm very grateful to have been able to retire from such an amazing company. But I got that job because of Toastmasters. I went to a conference and I met this guy named Mike Muir. And he said, "Oh, looking for a job? Well, we're hiring." And I got a job at USAA. And, what's the likelihood of being a brand new Toastmaster, less than 6 months, finding myself in the real estate industry in 2008, squash, there are no jobs. And he says, oh, well, we're hiring. And I end up with a new career.
Ah,
It's because of
Yeah.
Toastmasters. I mean, you just don't ever realize all the benefits you're going to get. Well, this program tonight is one of a monthly program brought on by District 3 training area. And we have another program scheduled for April, which will be April 20th. And Steve Feld, who is a business coach, is going to do a session on how to get paid to be a speaker. So if you're looking to have a more opportunity to become a paid speaker, this would be the session you want to attend, and that'll be on April 20th. Same bat station, same bat time, 6:30. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank each one of you for being here tonight. Lynn Brazier, Randy Casares, Blair Rivet, and Steve Bro, thank you for being amazing panelists and just sharing your information. We appreciate you more than you know. Thank you so much.